Good afternoon. How are you? Well, I think this is the first walk and talk that I've done, in which I'm both walking and talking and on my favorite roads near my house, since Holly had her procedure, her very dramatic procedure. I mean, how many people ever have an operation like that? There are a couple of things that I think are bothersome that are going on. As I'm walking now, back in New York, there was an attack in the subway system. Some guy shot, it appears to be a man, shot and terrorized people, and some were injured, and it's described as a mass shooting. It's troubling to me that in this entire event, there's no evidence in this public subway station of any law enforcement being present to observe it, to try to stop it, to capture the suspect. And what we had was sheer chaos. We have no leads. The person apparently got rid of the weapons and stuff that he had with him. And as of hours later, no one has identified a person, shown us a picture or anything else. Indeed, the cameras at the station don't work. It is interesting to compare this tragedy in New York and the reaction to it with how we're attacking other things. For instance, we are very concerned to get the person who did it, to hold someone accountable. Okay, that's as it should be. But you contrast that with the even greater and larger offenses, say in Ukraine, and we're on notice today that in addition to all the other atrocities that Putin is responsible for, there's a talk of chemical weapons being used against the peoples of Ukraine. So we want to get this terrible person in New York, but we can satisfy ourselves with language like Putin has committed war crimes, and today it is a big story that President Biden is going to accuse him of genocide. I'm sorry, but it's a sticks and stones thing. When I was a kid in the Bronx, I guess my dad, to discourage us from fighting, said, if people just talk, that's not a basis to get into a fist fight, even though fighting words in the law, I've learned since my childhood, can be a basis for defending oneself or responding if you can't avoid the incident. But, sticks and stones will hurt my bones, but names will never hurt me. And so in Ukraine, we have worse than sticks and stones. We have absolute death and destruction for civilians, blowing up buildings with missiles that say, for the children, knowing there are children in the building because there were signs outside telling them that. We have a world in chaos, and the chaos is born of our inability to implement the law that would make sense. What law am I talking about? We're going to have several days of people talking about this incident in New York and how terrible it is. But we've never done anything about the gun laws. I was on the Hill when we had one of the first cases, Columbine, and it looked like we were going to pass gun legislation, but we didn't. I say we, I was a staffer. I was not a member of the Congress, but I was working the issue. And here we are again, and we have the governor of the state of New York. This ends here. Well, it's great language, but 2 days from now, or in the state legislative session or the congressional legislation, not a thing will be done. The Second Amendment apparently has become a license to kill innocent people in America, because we don't stop you from getting the weapon, and you can have it apparently for all purposes, and up to and including killing other people. It's a little bit like the parallel with Putin. Putin can use whatever weaponry he wants all over Ukraine. And what do? We're going to take you to the World Court. We're going to give you weapons, but not the ones you ask for, the ones we want to give you. And we're not going to do it that quickly, and we are going to spend the money. if you're relying on these people to protect us and then to prosecute the people who did the offenses, it's a question of high anxiety. It really is. So we'll wait and see. Hopefully somebody will figure this out. But I think what happened in New York was not just a tragedy, but it was a failure of law enforcement, of maintaining the security systems, the camera, by which you would be able to identify this person, whether or not there were police on the station or in the train. And they're at a loss to know who it is, and they're chasing themselves in circles. Second thing that I found distressing was a statement by Zoe Lofgren, whom I have great respect for, Congresswoman Zoe Lofgren from San Jose, California. I was her chief of staff. I was her special counsel. We worked hard on defending the impeachment of Clinton on the theory that, well, what he did was wrong, but it was not an impeachable offense. And I think that was a fair approach. And she legitimately is a member of this austere panel on the January 6th insurrection. But when asked today, do you agree with the judge who said there's critical evidence that demonstrates wrongdoing by the president, she endorsed what he said, but she didn't say it herself, and she didn't say the committee believed it or they had evidence of it. I don't understand that. I really don't. To mute an accusation that is of high crimes and misdemeanors, that is of violations of the highest order constitutional in our criminal statutes, and to be studying it as if our only concern is curiosity. And she said of any, quote, referral, that really there's no such thing as a referral. We can give our information to the Department of Justice, but it has no legal significance. It is disappointing, personally, because I have a great regard for Zoe Lofgren, but I think she's dead wrong. This finding of the president's wrongdoing is not something that should be hidden from the public. These 800 witnesses who were interviewed should not be hidden behind some bookshelf or on digital media. In fact, all of it should be made public now. Let us see all of it. Let us know what's going on. The way this committee is conducting itself, for all the marvelous insights they've given us that have leaked out, give us the whole thing. Let the information be poured over by journalists and students and professors and the public at large. We keep talking about how we have freedom and Russia doesn't want freedom. Well, show it. Give us freedom. Give us access to the information so we can make the difference that's necessary for these no-goods who would have overthrown our government. And then the final thing I'd like to say is I want to thank you on behalf of myself and Holly for all the kind words that you continue to send to us. She has been released from the intensive care unit, and she is struggling to gather back her strength. She stood and took several steps today, and she's breathing the air herself. Her vital signs are good to great. It's very challenging to personal attitude to deal with something like this, and she's a trooper. A lot of people are giving her support in the fighting that she needs to undergo to recover that strength. As you may know, if you lie on your back for a week, you lose muscle mass. And given all the fluids that filled her body because of the undertaking that is so massive and unique, she had to there was an extra 20 pounds on her, I think. So anyhow, I think we're making progress. We look out for setbacks. We try to work through the problems. It is a good thing that she's off the intensive care unit because it means she's basically sound, but she has a lot of work to do. So We have to seize the moment as a nation and as a world, because we are spinning out of control and this just can't continue. So it's nice to be back on the trail and with you guys, and I will do it as frequently as I can. But while I have 3 things on my mind, Holly, my cases, and the animals at our farm, I'm trying to trade off things so that I can sustain those in good order. Thanks again. Look forward to talking to you soon. Bye-bye.